On the eve of an upcoming data slate, boy, do we have a battle report today. And it's the one, the only, the Necron Starshatter Arsenal versus the Berserker Warband World Eaters. So if you're wondering how these two armies match up against each other, you're going to want to stick around because we're going to take this 3-hour game, condense it down roughly into 20 minutes, giving you what worked, what didn't work, and passing that knowledge on to you because I do believe if one of us gets better, we all get better. So today we have Berserker Warband, 30 Berserkers. 30 Berserkers, okay? Now, I would like to preface before we get into details here, I'm playing against the one, the only Mr. Ryan. And it's safe to say your boy, your Necron Overlord, would not be playing Warhammer if it wasn't for this guy. He is a childhood friend and still very much a good friend. And yeah, he is responsible for getting us back into this hobby, myself and others. And I still remember it where it was right before 10th edition. He's like, man, dude, new game, get back into this hobby. They got like an app and stuff. I'm like, dude, let's do it, man. Let's do it. And turned out to be the greatest blessing because I freaking love this game, guys. I just love this goddamn game. So the only downside is like all my friends, I got to play against Necrons all the time. And, you know, it's the holidays. And, you know, I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm running 3 arcs today. I got a Ghost Arc. I got Silent King. But, you know, he's got 30 Zerkers, right? So I'm like, he's like, hey, man, you know, can you at least give me layout 8? All right. So if you're wondering how this mission got set up here, originally I was like, hey, let's do Crucible of Battle. Crucible of Battle, layout 8, Terraform. Okay. Make it a little spicy, right? And Ryan, you know, he's like, dude, hey, man, we should, dude, let's not do Crucible, man. Let's just do Tipping Point, okay? Like Lichpin. I'm like, okay. So he wanted me to make sure I preface that before the battle report begun. Okay. So we are playing Tipping Point today. We are playing Lichpin. If you're wondering why the race are out of place, I promise I'm not cheating. It's just this picture was taken, unfortunately, mid my movement turn before I moved to anything. So, but good news is they basically stayed in that same spot. So, anyways, but playing Lichpin today, Tipping Point, and going against the one, the only Mr. Ryan. Okay, so you guys like seeing the melee matchups, all right, and the rush, because Necrons, it's not easy, and it's definitely not easy on layout 8. It's the most dense board on the GW format, and yeah, this is just more or less kind of worst case scenario, and let's flip over to the game and talk about what happened, all right? So deployment, I'm going to link the list down below in the description. So if you want to check that out, go ahead. I've been really liking this Starshatter list as of late. It's a lot of fun to play, and it's not super difficult to play per se. Once I kind of highlight some things, I think if you're a relatively newer player, I think this is a very friendly list to kind of get started. That's also going to be very good. So I'm going to actually go first, which is great. I like going first as of right now. It's just better practice for me. So we are going to get first turn, and let's start talking about our moves here. So if you have been watching some of the recent battle reports, I have been loving the Ghost Arc Xeris combo -1 damage. Is it better than a block erase? I don't know, but it's fun. It makes your opponent think. And boy, did it make him think. All right, so let's talk about the turn here. Okay, so this is essentially our movement turn 1. So pretty standard stuff. We're going to stage up our race. We are not running the Tomb Crawlers. Or sorry, we're not running the Tomb Crawlers or Crypto Thralls, mainly because there was a weird breakpoint in the list where I could run either like Scorpex or Praetorians, or I could run Tube Crawlers and Scarabs. And I felt like for what this list is trying to do, I'd rather just have a unit of Praetorians and Deep Strike as like a rapid ingress threat to just give me more utility in the list as we go into the mid game. But pretty standard stuff here where we are going to stage up the race. The race are going to get established locust turn 1. And then we are going to get on both objectives. So we are going to get secure for 5 points and locust turn 1. So super good turn. And then we're running the Geomancer, the new Geomancer model, if you're wondering what that is, in the race there. Because, dude, honestly, the Geomancer, Proxy does a Technomancer, looks sick, you know? It's cool. So definitely want to get him painted up before the next tournament and use him as a Technomancer instead. Because let's be honest, nobody really knows the difference between our characters. We got so many dang characters. It's great. So passing the turn over to him. All right. So Ryan, first turn, he's going to get Storm Hostile Objective and Area Denial. All right. Not necessarily ideal. This was definitely a thinker, whether he wanted to cycle this turn 1 or not. I think it was probably the right play to just keep it because at the end of the day, he does need to send something meaningful up here to interact with this Ghost Ark. This is a big reason why I just love this combo. And as you're seeing it highlighted here, where when you have Xeris in the Ghost Ark, it gives you maximum flexibility when the Ghost Ark does die to either drop him here or drop him here. So there's like some interesting jank that you can do, especially in the first turn where your opponent really has to think about your options. Because one, if they shoot the Ghost Ark, right, you can react move. If you kill it, Xeris has full agency to drop on either of the objectives to either flip it or just keep him out of, charge range. And then the other thing that I really like with the addition to the race is the fact that you're seeing here when we set up the first turn, you are setting up a amazing heroic intervene threat. And which he was like, dude, this was well done. He's like, I see what you're doing here. This is good. This is good. And that's the key, I think, with well-designed lists is if you can make your opponent think about a lot of different options you can do turn 1, you're in a good spot. Because it gives you some sort of agency on your turn. It gives you some sort of control, okay? So he's kind of in a dilemma here where he's like, well, you know, I could send up Spawn or Exalted or the Berserkers and Karn, but, like, I also have to worry about if I don't get a big charge, like, you could just heroic intervene with the race, and I'm not going to pick up anything, and then I'm actually going to end up getting, like, a big primary turn, like a 13 points going into turn 2, right? So he does push up, and let's fast forward here. So this is his movement turn. We'll do this before charges, and this was quite the thinker. So he's going to shift up Spawn behind the staging point here. He is going to bring out Karn and the boys to interact with this Ghost Ark because he doesn't have any shooting. He doesn't have any Forge Fiends or anything like that. And so this is one of maybe outside of, and we're going to talk about a couple things I think he definitely could have done differently to edge out this game. But one of the things that I wish he would have had out the gate was using like a Hellbrute in combination with Spawn or Hellbrute and like a unit of Exalted to go after the Ark rather than having to send 10 Berserkers and Karn out of turn 1, even though it is a reliable resource to kill the Ark. At the same point, the Karn Brick with the 10 Berserkers is a huge like win condition unit, like one of the top units I want to get rid of. Outside of the Exalted 8-bound with the Slaughterbound and Warglaive, because that unit will just like one-shot the king, even with -1 damage. It's like freaking gross. So he had to send 10 Berserks and Karn into the Ark, okay? And he does position in a way where it doesn't really make it super attractive for me to heroic intervene with the race. So I come from the standpoint of, I'm like, you know what? We got what we wanted turn 1. We're forcing him to commit a lot of resources to this, and it's stuff that I'm just going to be able to get off the board fairly reliably next turn. So we let him kill the Ghost Ark, and we get Xeris out onto this objective like we talked about. The Exalted had already activated, so they were not eligible to then consolidate or pile into Xeris. So if you're wondering how he was able to be there safely, that's how. So going into my top of turn 2, a couple things to talk about here. So we are going to get an 8 on primary, and we're going to get Bring It Down and Storm Hostile Objective. Now, I scored well the first round. I don't want to necessarily be super CP starved. I could have maybe cycled Bring It Down, but again, there was no really targets, and I kind of wanted the CP going into this turn because I knew the next turn was definitely going to be my go turn. So I ended up saying, like, all right, Bring It Down is going to be a CP. We'll get Storm Hostile Objective. Let's not stress about it this turn and call it a day. So he did have a really good position here that I actually want to highlight, where he did move out the remaining Jackals on this side in his bottom of turn 1. We did Overwatch with the Doomsday Arc because there was only 3 models left, and we brought it down to 1, which was super clutch to basically give me agency to bring this up if I needed to, or the Tomb Blades to get a firing line downfield. Okay. So top of turn 2, you know the secondaries, and let's look at the board state here. So essentially going into this, what I'm thinking about, he has a brick of 20 Berserkers in Deep Strike with the Lord on Juggernaut, and the Lord on Juggernaut basically gives them the ability to move through enemy models, so they really just can't be move blocked. It's just like a death ball, right? So the biggest things that I'm thinking about in my turn in this matchup is priority number 1 is I have to make sure that the Exalted 8-bound with the Slaughterbound cannot connect with the King. Okay, that is priority number 1. Priority number 2 is making sure that the Berserkers, the unit of 20, do not get to land in the most ideal spot. And if they do get to land, it's going to be really far back. So the Tomb Blades were a key resource here, and why I wanted to save them going into turn 2, and why I really do love them in Starshatter for a lot of different reasons, where they have the flexibility to really push this screen back. So he's not, so all of a sudden, because they're there, you know, he can't just put like, you know, 20 Berserkers behind here, like in this area. It pushes it back to where he essentially has to be, you know, like in this pocket, or he's way back here, which you're going to see here in a second. So how do we achieve that? So Xeris is going to go back here to push this screen back, right? So we're screening this out. We're screening this out, right? We have all the backfield screens. So you don't have to worry about 6 inches, okay? So really we're leaving him pockets here, right? He could go here, which is one of the big things I want to talk about. And then he could also go here-ish, okay? Now, unfortunately, Ryan did not, in hindsight, did not choose the best option. I think, and we talked about this, like this wasn't like a gotcha or like anything like that. The biggest thing for him was, you know, he has the Blood Surge. And I think he was thinking about, because intentionally, like the Tomb Blades are outside of 9, but I think he was he talked about this, like so focused on the Tomb Blades getting Storm Hostile Objective when that was really not even on my radar. The reason for that is because the Tomb Blades are actually doing double duty. They're screening for me to push this back, but all I want to do is just block this area right here. Because as soon as I do that, I've achieved both goals. I've achieved the Slaughterbound. They are unable to interact with the King because they're move blocked by the Tomb Blades. And then they've also allowed him not to deploy in the most ideal position with this 20 brick. Now, in hindsight, this should have been option number 1. He's protected. He's not getting shot. It gives him full agency the next turn. If he wants to get advanced charge, whatever, to either stage here, or depending on how I move my assets to, you know, move this way, or he could have used like the Tomb Blades as like a launching pin, right? So he could move these guys out, charge the Tomb Blades after they move block. He still has 6-inch pile and consolidate, could have like tied up all this stuff or like something. But you're going to see that they just get, I mean, unfortunately, they just get rinsed. Because they're just in this this firing lane right here with the Doomsday Arcs. Okay, so the Doomsday Arcs they go boom boom, and they basically clean up half the unit. Now, one beautiful move that I want to show you guys right here is you're like, man, Kylan, dude, how do we how do we work around Blood Surge, man? How do we do it? Well, there's a lot of different ways. And here's one way to do it, okay? So you have the Silent King. The Wraiths are positioned where even depending on where he pulls, if I shoot at him, the Wraiths are always going to be closer than the Silent King. And Ryan really pointed this out. He's like, dude, this was like a freaking beautiful move. Where if he wants to Blood Surge, he can Blood Surge into that one Wraith. Take it all day. But then what happens is then the King charges in and he cleans up the entire unit before they even get to fight the Wraiths. The other thing is that he doesn't even get probably max output on the race because he can only connect with one. It's super awkward because, again, they can only Blood Surge into one unit. It's not like the Sisters of Battle detachment with their Blood Surge where they can legally Blood Surge into multiple, which makes it a lot more spicy. So this is a really cool thing to highlight for you guys and how to work around Blood Surge. Maybe even if you don't play Necrons, just something to think about and how to line something up here where you can get them to Blood Surge into something super durable and then counterpunch in the charge phase with something that's super lethal, like any sort of like high volume melee threat, right? So he didn't have a good option to Blood Surge anywhere. Okay, so we could essentially just keep shooting because you essentially neutralize the Blood Surge here, and then you sequence it correctly where he's already used his Blood Surge here. We do the move block, and we charge in with the race. Because the Wraiths they are not the most like important resource in this matchup. It's the DDAs and the Silent King. So the longer I can keep those resources alive, the better. So we're gonna trade the race for the Berserkers and kind of see what he wants to do. Xeris unfortunately fails like a 4-inch charge on the spawn, which was like yeah, that was unfortunate. Guys, I don't know what it is with my charge rolls lately. I've just been failing like 4 or 5-inch charges re-rolling. Like I feel like at least once a game right now. It's just what is happening. But going into this is just bottom of turn 2. So bottom of turn 2, here we go. So he's gonna get a 13 on primary because I did not roll high enough on the race or Xeris to charge here. So he ended up actually keeping this point. That's what it was. Xeris was actually charging this way, not this way. And I think it was a 6-inch charge re-rolling, unfortunately, and then he failed it. So it is what it is. And then we move blocked here. So he essentially is going to try to neutralize the race. He can go after Xeris. He can go after Tomb Blades. Like everything that I want him to go after. We're in a pretty commanding position of the game because we essentially killed like 20 Zerkers in that turn. So he lost a lot, like very key resources, unfortunately, bottom of 2 that kind of felt like a backbreaker, but he did get a 13 on primary on this turn, and he's got Assassination and Sabotage. So he's going to Sabotage pretty easily. I think it was like a Hellbrute, and then the unit of, or just the Hellbrute, because you just need one resource for that. And let's check out his turn here. So this is bottom of turn 2 in the movement phase, and you're going to see him shift up. And you're seeing what the Tomb Blades are doing. You literally gave him no options. You took this 75-point unit, and you have all of this just sandwiched in this U. Another turn of basically just not doing anything. The absolute backbreaker, unfortunately for Ryan, is the spawn charge into the Tomb Blades. They kill one Tomb Blade. And this is in Bezerker Warband. I was like, that's rough, my guy. That is rough. And the Xeris, he just charges Xeris just to tie him up. It's a wash. You know, they just bounce. Race doing race things. They're still alive. We get Karn down to like, I think it was just Karn. So this is essentially the board state going into top of turn 3, where I'm in a good spot where I have all of this here. The Tomb Blades are still alive, so I can use them for another turn to move block because I'm gonna freaking res one. It's like I didn't even. It was so bad. Like that alone. Like this unit living was almost worse than where the Berserkers ended up dropping for Deep Strike. Like that was just so painful, unfortunately, for the guy. But going into top of turn 3, we're going to get 8 on primary, Sabotage, Display of Might. Pretty straightforward here. We are, I think, just going to Sabotage with the Stalker. And then Display of Might is going to be pretty straightforward because this is our go turn where I think we are going to more or less just push. So You're going to see me move the race up. We're going to put the king with -1 damage on the objective. And then we're essentially just going to kill all these resources. So we kill this, kill this, kill this. And at that point, I think I have a pretty commanding position of the game where I think we can just more or less hopefully push away from this. So that is essentially the board state. We accomplish that. So we have the king with -1 damage on the objective. We have race right here, lining a heroic intervene threat if he wants to go that way. And then we also still have Praetorians and Deep Strike. Now, I keep telling you guys, I'm like, guys, man, I'm telling you, the Praetorians, they're worth it, dude. Oh, guys, another game, man. I set them up so beautifully, dude. And then they just fail another whiff and charge. So the Praetorians wrap it in here. And what they're doing also, they're doing kind of double duty here where if he does want to charge the Exalted in, at least the Praetorians can come in with a heroic intervene to, like, he either has to put all the attacks into the king. Granted, they could fight on death, I believe, for a CP, which is pretty good. Or the Praetorians can come in and potentially, like, kill him if he doesn't kill the king. So we wrap it in there. This is bottom of turn 3, so he's going to get an 8 on primary, engage on all fronts, display of might. So because I push, he's more or less going to push back. And he does kill Xeris with the Hellbrute. The other Hellbrute advances up or moves out from his staging point. Exalted 8-bound with the Warglaive are going to come out to play. And the Berserkers over here are just going to chill, I believe, on the objective, and then the Exalted are going to clean up the Tomb Blades. So, unfortunately, the unit with the Warglaive failed the charge. I believe the Hellbrute also failed the charge into the King. So big sad there. He really needed this unit, but I think with the move block, he still needed like an 8 re-rolling. Or maybe it was a 9. I can't. It was 8 or 9 re-rolling. And unfortunately, he did not get it. So going into top of turn 4, I'm like, all right, cool. The Praetorians are going to go over here. We're going to make like our super easy. It was like a 5-inch charge. Guys, I failed the freaking charge, man. I even spent a CP to re-roll this, and I'm like, dude, come on, man. I just want to show what these Praetorians can do because I really wanted to charge these guys in and like steal the objective. You know, that's kind of what they're there for, or do like weird stuff like that. You know, but again, they got screwed, so it is what it is. I mean, I can't complain. This guy's failing charges, not killing stuff all over the place. So what am I to say, right? So top of turn 4 is pretty much the turn. We're going to get a 13 on primary because we hold this objective, this objective, this objective. We're going to get cleansed, no prisoners. So Stalker's going to cleanse, Racer going to cleanse. We use the max output of the King. And basically, we're just going to kill all of this, kill this, maybe neutralize some of this. And I mean, at that point, it's just not really much left, right? So this is basically the board state going into bottom of turn 4, and he just doesn't have anything left. I mean, at that point, it's unfortunately just I think the point of no return of losing too many Zerkers in that top of turn 2 was really brutal. So bottom of turn 4, he's going to get 8 on primary, extend battle lines, and secure no man's land. So extend here. He'll get the 1 objective. And then I'll still score 13 top of turn 5 and get a tempting target mark for death. So we'll get both of those. And that was essentially the game right there. Okay. So I want to leave with this if you guys stuck around to the end and talk about a couple things that I think at the end Ryan could have done better to definitely edge out this matchup. So the first thing that we talked about is the Berserkers definitely dropped in the wrong place. They should have gone, and this is to like help him so he can see it back as well. Is why I love doing these battle reports, because very much a mutual benefit. So let's go back here. Okay, so basically this block right here should have been like right here. Now we talked about too, I thought it would have been more maybe interesting if you would have just had them on the board turn 1 and just said like, hey, I'm just gonna put that big brick like right here, because at that point it's just such a strong staging point to just yeet them up the next turn. You get 6-inch pile and consolidate, something like that, and then you're just all of a sudden you're just tagging everything. But if anything, they should have dropped here. I think that was like the first biggest thing. The second biggest thing is he should have had, and we talked about this as well, was these Hellbrutes on the board. So in this layout here, these Hellbrutes, let's go back to the deployment here. This Hellbrute should have been deployed like over here in this little pocket, and then also having the other Hellbrute potentially over here as well. So his turn 1, he can just move both the Hellbrutes right here, right? And it gives him flexibility to not only move, or actually, sorry, the Hellbrutes could go, they could go right here because it's tipping point. So there's no way, like, yes, I could. Here's the thing. So yes, I could bring a DDA up here to potentially cut. What is the line? It's like through here, right? So if he put like if you put both of them basically where the Rhino was, and the Rhino's like backed up there, you could keep them safe from getting shot. Now, is it worth it for me to bring out a DDA to kill one Hellbrute? Probably not, especially turn 1 when he's got the Warglaive unit right here or other stuff. I don't think I take that trade. So knowing that, I think you probably put the Hellbrutes on the line. You move them up, right? And then turn 1, you're going to see, right? So instead of bringing the Zerkers out with Karn, now you can bring the Hellbrute out this way, right? And then bring out like either probably the Exalt, like a unit of 8-bound or something like that, to make sure you do kill the Ghost Ark, and then you also don't need to worry about Xeris auto-seeing you on the objective. And you're committing less points. You're not committing one of your like valuable resources, which is the 10 brick with Karn, right? So I think if you make those 2 adjustments, I think this game is like entirely different, right? But I think just a couple of those mistakes early in the game, I think really cost him. But I think, we run this again. I think 10 out of 10 times, I think he probably wins this matchup, especially on this layout. So all in all, great freaking match. And if you stuck around this long, seriously, guys, appreciate you watching. And as always, we will catch you in the next one. Happy holidays.